Also a different story in regards to how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys today as opposed to yesterday. Because what I saw today with the Dallas Cowboys in terms of what they did yesterday, and you break it down, 263 yards on the ground. They absolutely gut punched the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, this was complete and utter destruction. They are now 7-7. They can clinch the NFC East title and a home playoff game with a win in Philadelphia this week after 3 straight losses. What were we talking about last week when I was filling in for Rich on the show? We were talking about coaching changes. The number one job in the NFL next year, if they make a change, is obviously going to be the Dallas Cowboys and Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett made a speech to pump up his team, and he's not a big pump-up guy. He's kind of a facts guy. He's a Princeton guy. He's a smart guy. But it worked. It resonated with these guys. They came out. They looked great. They were 0-5 against teams with winning records. But they hung those 263 rushing yards on a top 10 defense. The Rams are not a great defense, but they're a good defense. And I think what we saw was that at least Sunday, Dak and Zeke were better than Goff and Gurley. And it's really that simple when you look at a winning formula in the playoffs. We've talked about this for years and years, but it's true. The game is slowed down. A winning formula in the playoffs, if you can run the ball and you can play really good defense, you can get to the Super Bowl. And I think at 7-7, we can say now, after what we saw yesterday, the Cowboys, and it pains me to say this as a Redskins fan, but I do believe it, that Cowboys can get to the Super Bowl. Why is there an eyebrow that is raised on your bald head, Brockman?
No, I think if the Cowboys team that shows up yesterday shows up in the playoffs, I agree with you. Coaching, however, in the postseason matters more than it does in the regular season. And it just comes down to, especially if you're a Cowboys fan, do you trust your coaching? And I think we've seen this year, first win against a team with a winning record, you can't really trust your coaching staff if you're the Cowboys fan.
Well, let me flip this to you, and I'd love to hear from Cowboys fans out there. You can call in at 844-204-7424. That's 844-204-7424. Is it better to win the division and to win a playoff game and keep Jason Garrett? Because that's what I believe happens. Or is it better to lose out, not make the postseason, and replace Jason Garrett? Because we know there's no real winning when you're mediocre or slightly there above. And I don't think that you can get rid of Jason Garrett after he wins a playoff game. You can. I don't think Jerry will. And he said a number of times that he is what he looks for in a coach. And I do believe that if you win a playoff game, Jason Garrett stays.
You really believe that? You don't think it's NFC Championship, Super Bowl, or bust for Jason Garrett here? I mean, the Chargers got rid of Marty Schottenheimer after a 14-win season, and they won a playoff game.
Right.
Jason Garrett's no Marty Schottenheimer.
I think sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And I think Jerry certainly subscribes to that theory. Now, obviously, maybe they decide to make a hard run at Lincoln Riley. Maybe, Urban Meyer, in between his visit to Dan Snyder's luxury suite at FedEx Field, makes a trip down to Dallas. But I think this Cowboy team can go deep into the playoffs. I think they have the potential to get to the Super Bowl. The defense is playing well. When Zeke looked like a different dude, and you throw Pollard in there and you rack up 263 yards on the ground, they are very similar to me in terms of how they use the play action to the Rams last year. Everything kind of operates off of the run game. When the run game is going, you can obviously throw the ball better. You chew up more clock. There's not as much stress on the defense. This Rams team has been one that's been tough to figure out, but I still think it's a pretty decent football team. And the Cowboys were in control of that game from start to finish.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.